Alright, so it's a really slow news week. All we got is rumors this week. Nothing actually true, nothing official, but thought I'd talk about it anyway. A couple rumors have been going around the last couple days about the DC films. But before I get into it, if you haven't checked out Comic Movie Mark's video about Zack Snyder, go do that right now. I'll put a link in the description to it. It's like an hour long, and they just spend the whole time making the point that Zack Snyder does know about the comics. He does care about the comics, and he does care about these superheroes. And I had a great time watching it because it's like they finally compiled all the shit I wanted to compile, you know, like all these interviews with Zack Snyder where he's talking about how Warner Brothers wanted to change a lot of things about Superman, and he's the one that was fighting for Superman. It's just really awesome. And now we got something to show the trolls when they start saying that Zack Snyder doesn't understand superheroes. You just direct them to this video, and they could see an hour of people talking about how he does care. So, you know, it's a great video. Check it out if you haven't already. But now let's get into the rumors. The rumor that happened earlier in the week had to do with Peter Jackson. Now, everyone's already talked about this, but I thought I'd give my 2 cents. Now, the rumor is Peter Jackson is deciding between the Lord of the Rings TV series on Amazon or a DC movie. Now, why he can't do both is, you know, a mystery to me. You know, he's not going to be directing every episode of the TV series. I think if he is going to do a Lord of the Rings miniseries, he's going to be an executive producer signing off on the scripts and stuff. He's not actually going to be, you know, directing them. So he would still be free to direct a DC movie. But, you know, maybe he doesn't want to do both at the same time or something. And maybe that's why he only wants to choose one. And I think Peter Jackson's one of the greatest directors of all time. I love all his Lord of the Rings films, even the Hobbit films. I love them. I don't really care what people say about those films. I love those films. And I love King Kong. Fuck everybody. The King Kong in 2005 was perfect. It was a perfect movie. God damn, that movie's good. And if he did a DC movie, I mean, we're talking like epic scale movie. Like, I'm hoping it's like a Green Lantern type of situation. Like, he might do Green Lantern Corps, because the Sinestro Corps War is essentially a big Lord of the Rings battle in space, right? So he could pull that off. I believe he could. And if he really is choosing between DC and a Lord of the Rings TV show, I think he would choose DC because it's something new that he hasn't really done before. And Lord of the Rings, he's done like 6 movies on it. I mean, he's invested probably a decade of his life with Lord of the Rings. And yeah, he's a huge Lord of the Rings fan. He's read all the books since he was a kid, and he got to live his dream and make the movies. But he also was a huge fan of King Kong, you know? And he got to make a King Kong movie. So he's been able to do the shit he's always wanted to do. And I imagine that there is at least one DC superhero that he's a fan of that he wants to do. If this rumor's true, and he's really considering a DC film. And I think the obvious character that he might be interested in, and I don't know anything about Peter Jackson when it comes to superheroes and like what he thinks about them, but I think Superman's probably the likely candidate that he would be the most interested in, because it's Superman. You know, everybody knows who Superman is. Everyone's been a fan of Superman at some point. Everyone pretended to be Superman as a little kid at some point. So, you know, he might be leaning in that direction, so that might be what's interesting him. And there's another rumor that came out just the other day, and this is the only other rumor I'm going to be talking about in this video, and that's Man of Steel 2 is going to be coming out in 2020. Now, if this first rumor about Peter Jackson's true, you know, it's quite a coincidence that this next rumor is happening like just a few days later, right? Maybe Peter Jackson is being considered for the next Superman solo film. You know, whatever Man of Steel 2 is going to be called. I wouldn't mind that. But the thing is, if Man of Steel 2 is coming out in 2020, that means they got to be starting pre-production right now. And 2020 is a lot closer than people think. You know, it's only like a year and a half away. Especially if the next Superman solo film is coming out in the summer. We're only a year and a half away. Now, the original plan they had with this huge slate they revealed like a few years ago at Comic-Con, Green Lantern and Cyborg, I think, were supposed to come out in 2020. And I don't think they're going to be doing that at all, which sucks. I know. I want to see a Cyborg movie. I think Ray Fisher is perfect for Cyborg. I want to see it. And, of course, I really wanted that Green Lantern Corps movie to come out in 2020. Of course, I've been dying for a Green Lantern film since 2011 when that debacle happened. And, you know, that movie was salvageable. They could have made a sequel to that, and Sinestro would have been the main villain. They probably would have changed directors since Martin Campbell did such a bad job with the first one. So that Green Lantern film was salvageable, but it frankly didn't make any money. It didn't make a single dime. I think they lost like $100 million on that, or like $200 million. They lost a ridiculous amount of money on that. But, you know, I'm still surprised they gave up on it, because the sequel would have definitely did a lot better, and Sinestro would have been a crazy good villain, especially the Mark Strong Sinestro. It would have been amazing. And, you know, if Warner Brothers, you know, played their cards right, they could have a completely almost separate universe from the DC universe, because Green Lantern and that universe is huge. It's huge. It's an entire universe. Completely different characters that have nothing to do with the Justice League, really. Like, you would rarely see any other DC heroes besides Green Lanterns, you know? You could make 20 films just about Green Lantern and all the Lantern Corps and building up to Blackest Night, and, like, that could be its own goddamn film series. But, you know, they cancel the cartoon show, they don't make the sequel to the movie, you know, they're not putting out a new Green Lantern film in 2020. Seems like Warner Brothers is not invested at all in Green Lantern, and they should be, because, you know, if you got that to take off, you would have dozens of movies if that took off. You know, if Green Lantern took off, no, you wouldn't have to be worried about making any other movie, really. That's a shit ton of movies right there. But, you know, according to the rumor, Man of Steel 2 is coming out in 2020. Whatever they're going to title the movie, I imagine they're going to title it something other than Man of Steel 2, because, you know, I think that's just confusing, titling it Man of Steel 2. I think it's just confusing. They should just title it something else. Man of Tomorrow would be a good title. You know, I would just title it his nicknames, you know? Last Son of Krypton, Man of Tomorrow, that's what the movie should be titled. I think you could actually do something with that. But, you know, like I said earlier, it is coincidental that the Peter Jackson rumor is coming out just days before this rumor about Man of Steel 2 coming out in 2020. So, just saying, there's probably a big connection there. Peter Jackson probably is considering making a Superman film. And he's got to make the decision relatively quick. He's got to make it this year, because they got to start pre-production before the end of this year, and they got to start filming next year if they want to get this out in 2020. If they're, you know, if this rumor's true and they're serious about making a Man of Steel 2. And, you know, Peter Jackson is amazing in pre-production. Like, he had 30 days to plan 3 Hobbit films, you know? Like, and he did. It doesn't really matter what you think of those films. Just the fact that he was able to put all 3 of those films together in pre-production in 30 days, you know, shows you just how much of a professional he is and how he can really get shit done. And I think Peter Jackson gets more of a kick out of making, like, motion pictures, out of making, like, movies, because, you know, you get a lot more time to make it. It's a lot more personal if you're a director, because, you know, whatever's on screen is coming from his head, really. He's directing everybody on what to do, and he has a lot more control. With the Lord of the Rings TV series, I don't think he would have that much control, honestly. I think he would just be given the okay. Kind of like what George Lucas was doing on the Clone Wars animated series. George Lucas was in the animation writer's room for the Clone Wars animated series. He was there every single week, approving scripts and whatnot, you know? Every episode of the Clone Wars animated show was approved by George Lucas. And I think that that's what Peter Jackson's role would be on the Lord of the Rings miniseries or TV show, whatever they're doing. And since he's already done a shit ton of Lord of the Rings stuff, like, I don't think he would want to just keep doing that world forever. I think he wants to do something he hasn't done before, and that's a DC superhero. But, you know, I'm just on the outside looking in. I have no idea. I'm just reading the rumors from this week. And the 2 big rumors are Man of Steel's coming out in 2020 and Peter Jackson's thinking about a DC film. So, you know, you put 2 and 2 together, what film is he going to be doing, you know? Like, he's probably going to be doing a Superman film. But, you know, that's it for now. Let me know what you think down below about these rumors. Do you want Peter Jackson to direct a Man of Steel sequel? Do you want him to direct a DC film of any kind? What character would you want to see him direct? I mean, I think he'd be perfect for Green Lantern, because the scale is just huge on Green Lantern, and he's really good at making movies with huge scales. You know what I'm saying? Like, huge battle sequences. That's what he's good at. And Green Lantern's right up his alley. But, you know, he might just be a Superman fan, so that's why he might be considering Superman. But anyway, that's it for now. Check out the Comic Movie Marks videos if you haven't. They're awesome. And I'll see you all on the next one.